If you didn't already know, Buldak is officially entering their Flamin Hot Cheetos era. You heard me right, the instant ramen company that's been turning your digestive tract into an active war zone has now decided to bless us with potato chips.
Potatoes!
That's right, your favorite fire toilet noodle flavors are now dusted all over potato chips like it's snack season in Area 51. This is basically what happened when Flamin Hot got bored and they started using their slurry and other Frito-lay products. They crossed over to other PepsiCo products, including fast food chains, and they even made a movie about themselves, like a real one, with actors and a plot. Buldak, ball's in your court, buddy. Let's get that Samyang cinematic universe going. I ain't watching a 14-minute video on chips. Hang on, I'm getting to that. Buldak didn't just stop with chips. They got a glass noodle rosé variety, tteokbokki in either original or carbonara. They even have their own bottled sauces so you can traumatize your own food at home. And they have frozen fried rice for those who still haven't figured out the first knuckle trick. The only product I did not manage to find is their frozen dumplings. Pretty much none of my stores had them, and within good reason, because when I researched the ingredients inside, I read artificial chicken flavoring and soy protein in the same breath. Now, no disrespect to my vegetarian friends, but if people want to cry because they're eating spicy food, it should be because the food is spicy and not the existential crisis of chewing into a chicken imposter. But don't worry, I'm gonna deal with that later in this video, the right way. Kicking off, we're gonna start with the Buldak potato chips, this one being the original flavor. Right when I opened up the bag, I could immediately smell that potato chip type of flavor. In fact, the packaging says it's made from fresh potatoes. The texture of these potato chips is very similar to Pringles, however, the shapes are more similar to Lay's potato chips. The flavor, on the other hand, the immediate flavor that I taste is actually more similar to American barbecue chips. There is a spice that kicks in towards the very end, and it's with the spice that will usually tickle the back of your throat. It's not spicy by any means. I would give this essentially a 1. The flavor is very standard as far as American flavors go, so I would just give this a 4. The crunch factor though, it's crispy. Next Buldak potato chip, we have the Quattro cheese flavor. Right as you open the bag, you immediately smell the cheese, specifically a sharp cheddar. So this chip is not as spicy as the original one. In fact, the tingleness that you feel in the back is almost by half. I'd have to say the spice level of these chips is probably a 0.5. As far as the cheesiness flavor goes, the flavor of these chips is very interesting because I can smell the cheddar, but I taste the Gouda. It's not as cheesy as American potato chips, it's a little bit more subtle, but even then it's quite tasty. I would give this flavoring a 4. And the last potato chip in the lineup is their Habanero lime flavor. Surprisingly, out of the 3 bags, when I opened this one, I didn't smell immediately anything. For the spice level of this chip, I don't really feel it at all, not even the tingle in the back of my throat, so I'm gonna have to give this a 0. In terms of the flavor of this chip, it's quite interesting compared to the other 2 bags, because this flavor closely resembles its noodle counterpart. The flavor is not as extreme as the noodles, but you taste that hint of lime, maybe just a little bit of that habanero flavor. I would have to give this flavor a nice middle of the road 5. Moving on, we have the tteokbokki. This is the original flavor. If you don't know what tteokbokki is, it is essentially rice that's been mashed up into a shape. I haven't had this since I was a kid, and I believe we called it niangao in Mandarin. The tteokbokki is nice and chewy, and as long as you let the sauce kind of cool down a little bit, it will coat it much better, because when I took it out of the microwave, the sauce seemed a little bit thin, but now it's really coated all over each piece. The original Buldak flavor is 100% there because it's essentially just the sauce with a different type of carb vessel. But because of the tteokbokki's shape, you're not gonna get as much sauce per bite than you would with the noodles. However, as I ate my second one, I can feel that heat starting to build up, a little bit of sweat coming around, so I would still rate the spice a nice 7. Next up, we have the Carbonara flavor in the tteokbokki variety. Same thing as before, the sauce is exactly the same as the noodle version. It's not really burning me all that much, so I'm gonna give it the same thing, a 2.5. What I'm experiencing with these tteokbokki varieties is that when you take into account the density of the tteokbokki to how much sauce it's able to pick up, it's actually more carb heavy per sauce ratio compared to its noodle counterpart. And because of that, you're gonna taste the flavor and experience the spice right away on the first chew, but as you keep chewing and your saliva keeps making its way through, as well as the tteokbokki splitting apart, your experience of the spice and the flavor kind of just fades away the more you chew. is not necessarily a bad thing. I feel like if you don't handle spice very well, the tteokbokki varieties is probably gonna do better for you. But if you're wanting that constant flavor with every bite and every chew, the noodles are gonna be superior. Next up, we have the glass noodle rosé flavor. Now these glass noodles are not made from rice like most Chinese clear noodles, rather these are made from potato. Spice-wise, it kicks you just a little bit and then it fades away rather quickly. I know I gave the noodle version a 3, but this one I feel is closer to a 2. What I love about this glass noodle version is the fact that these noodles are super chewy and the sauce basically just soaks into it, so you're just getting full of flavor. I know I poo-pooed on the rosé flavor before because I felt like I tasted like hot dogs. This does not taste like hot dogs. This tastes like something else. This to me tastes completely different from the rosé, and I think it's because of the potato noodles. It's got a little bit more sweetness to it. If anything, I feel like it rounds out the flavor a lot for my palate. Like I just don't taste that hot dog that I originally tasted from the noodles. I really like this a lot. I feel like Buldak needs to create a glass noodle of every flavor. So now we're gonna move on to the bottled sauces, and if I had to guess, they're probably the exact same sauce packets from the noodles, but this is Jason Does. We need to check. Yep, that's definitely the original flavor. Definitely the carbonara flavor. Basically, yeah, 2X flavor. And lastly, the Buldak Sriracha. I don't know, this more tastes like Sriracha than anything. Might actually be a little bit sweeter. Well, that does it for this taste test. Let's move on to, I'm just kidding. I'll be right back. Just a cheeseburger and a small fry, please.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, I'm going.
You too, thank you. Could I just get one cheesy bean and rice burrito, please?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. All right, let's try these out with some of America's favorite fast food, McDonald's and Taco Bell. So we're gonna start off with a standard McDonald's cheeseburger. My goodness, has it gotten small and expensive. Starting with the original sauce. I feel the cheese kind of cuts out the spice a bit. And of course there's ketchup in here, so that's also gonna sweeten things up. But that being said, you do taste that Buldak flavor on the very initial bite. Next, we got the carbonara. The carbonara one actually tastes quite good because you get that initial meatish flavor from the sauce, and then you mix in with the cheese and the beef. It tastes really good. I actually prefer this one. Let's move over to the 2X. These sauces are so thick, it's not easy to pour these out. Because again, that cheese cuts out the spice from the first one, the 2X one tastes way better on a burger. Lastly, Sriracha. Because it already has slightly sweet flavor, and then you have the ketchup in here, honestly, I think the 3 regular Buldak sauces will work better on a cheeseburger. Sriracha, not so much. Now let's move on to a Taco Bell burrito. All right, that tastes pretty good. Just your classic Buldak sauce all over a bunch of carbs. If there was like chicken in here or beef, that will also taste quite good in my opinion. So let's go over to the carbonara. I feel like the carbonara is like the thickest sauce out of the bunch. Again, I'm really loving the carbonara on this fast food. It just gives you that extra hint of like umami meat kind of flavor, and pair that with all the other stuff that's in fast food, it tastes really good. Moving on to the 2X. Again, same enjoyment as the original, it's just a little bit more spicy. And finally, Sriracha. Okay, at this point, the Sriracha, I don't think tastes good as a sauce for any of the fast food. It's hard to explain because now that I'm tasting it on food, it does not taste like regular Sriracha. In fact, let me go get actual Sriracha. All right, here we go, actual Sriracha. Okay, yeah, this is way better. The Buldak, I feel like, has some sort of just weird chemically taste. I can't put my finger on it. It does not taste natural. And the last of the fast food is French fries. And what I did was I made some dipping sauces, mixing these with a little bit of ranch. So let's have a taste. Here's the original Buldak mixed with ranch. The ranch softens the blow of the spice, but you still taste that Buldak flavor. As far as the spicy ranch goes, this is pretty good. Moving on, we have the carbonara with ranch. The ranch completely cancels out the spice from the carbonara, but you still do taste that awesome carbonara flavor. I like it. Next up, we have the 2X spice. I think at this point you guys understand that the 2X is going to be my favorite because it's going to cut through a little bit more with its own spice compared to the original version. So this also tastes really good. Last up, we have the Buldak Sriracha, and I don't think I'm gonna like it, but I could be surprised. So the ranch takes away a flavor, and now all I can really taste is whatever that tomatoey, chemically mix is. It's not good. Just don't buy that sauce. Next up, we have the Buldak fried rice. This is the Carbonara version. There is an original version, but I couldn't find it, so that's unfortunate. When I was cooking this thing, I noticed how sticky the rice was, and this is absolutely correct. When it comes to Korean rice, they definitely have more stick in terms of the kind of rice variety they use. Okay, this is some very tasty rice. In terms of the spice level, I'm gonna give it pretty much exactly the same as the noodle version for me, which is approximately a 2.5. There is that kick, but when you mix it in with the rice, it fades away very nicely and very subtly. So the spice experience, perfect. As far as the flavor goes, I know I crapped on it a little bit in my noodles video. However, this fried rice version, it is so good, like absolutely delicious. If you add a fried egg on top, this is the perfect 4-minute meal. So since I couldn't find the dumplings, I made dumplings myself. Instead of using ground chicken meat, which you just don't do with dumplings, especially if you're Chinese, we are going with ground pork and chives. Here are my Buldak pot stickers. I'm going to eat them without the dipping sauce first, just so I could see what the flavor is like on its own. In terms of the taste, you're gonna first taste the wrapper, and then you taste all the pork juices that have been marinating inside the pot sticker. And then towards the very end is where you get that Buldak flavor. Now, it ultimately depends on how much Buldak did you put in there. In my case, I think I put in just enough where I can get a hint of it versus just only having the Buldak flavor. Now with the dipping sauce, the dipping sauce just adds a little bit of acidity and sweetness, as I'm pretty much just using vinegar and sweet soy sauce. Though I actually prefer this Buldak dumpling without the dipping sauce. Now let's try the Carbonara. Because the Carbonara already has a little bit of that meat flavor from pork, having it with the pork filling, I think brings out just a little bit more extra flavor. So I would actually say the Carbonara dumpling is probably the better tasting one. And finally, let's do the 2 times spicy. The 2 times spicy sauce does have more of a kick, but again, because it's being mixed with a lot of the juices that's trapped inside from the pork, it's not gonna hit you as hard. So actually, you know what? Let's last dab this like it's Hot Ones. All right, last dab of the original flavor. You definitely taste that Buldak sauce, and it enhances the pot sticker flavor immensely. I would actually say this is the better way to eat it. That way you kind of taste it right before the meat juices mix into it afterwards. It's a much better experience. Let's go for the Carbonara. Same thing with the Carbonara, as I said before, it enhances the pork flavor even more. This is probably my favorite sauce on the dumpling so far. Let's finish off with the 2 times spicy. The 2X to me is even better, and that's because of my high spice tolerance. So if you're like me, go ahead and get the 2X to put onto your pot stickers. Otherwise, stick with original if you're not able to handle so much spice. But the Carbonara, this is it. So did Buldak make its way to Flamin Hot status? I think they did. Out of everything I tasted, I love the Habanero lime chip, the rosé glass noodles, the Carbonara and the 2X bottle of sauces, and that Carbonara fried rice is amazing. Even though I couldn't find the dumplings, I feel like the dumplings will actually taste quite good. I just wish it was made of meat. Looking back, I think what I would have done differently is for a pound of ground meat would be equal to 1 entire bottle of sauce, and I would just dump all of it in there and mix it all up. I think that way the meat definitely will take on the Buldak sauce flavor. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.